Welcome to Sunwire. Today we're talking about Hamzah Zainudin's push for Anwar Ibrahim's resignation. And wow, this feels like a pretty significant moment in Malaysian politics, doesn't it? The opposition leader, Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, has, well, basically put it out there, a public demand for the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, to step down immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not just your standard political back and forth. This was a very clear, very public statement and made at that huge rally right outside the Sogo shopping complex in Kuala Lumpur. What's really crucial for you to understand, I think, is that this whole event seemed designed to hit the government on, like, two completely separate fronts.
Two fronts, okay.
Yeah, it was a joint protest. So, firstly, against that proposed Urban Renewal Act.
Ah, the domestic issue. Got it.
And secondly, it was a show of support for the Global Solidarity Flotilla volunteers. So, combining local and international issues.
Okay, so a clear strategy then. It looks like Hamzah's trying a kind of pincer movement, using these two quite different issues to justify calling for the PM's resignation.
Exactly. One focuses on sort of domestic socioeconomic concerns, and the other taps into some really high-stakes foreign policy stuff.
He's basically arguing that these two failures, as he sees them, are enough on their own to warrant the Prime Minister stepping down.
Precisely. He's deliberately using both, anxieties at home and this strong national feeling about what happened internationally. It gives the opposition a lot of leverage, potentially bringing together different groups who aren't happy with the government.
Okay, let's dive into the first one then. The domestic issue, this Urban Renewal Act. What's the specific problem Hamzah has with it? He's been quite vocal, saying it's flawed.
Well, his main charge, the core critique, is that the proposed law seems heavily weighted towards benefiting large property developers. The argument is that it kind of sidelines the rights and the input of the ordinary rakyat, the actual people living there whose homes and land could be affected.
So the concern is about displacement or unfair compensation?
Yeah, basically. The opposition is saying the government hasn't put in strong enough safeguards to protect residents from, well, what they might see as forced redevelopment or maybe getting lowballed on their property value.
Okay. And politically, that's always a sensitive nerve, isn't it? Accusations of favoring big business over ordinary citizens.
Absolutely. That kind of perception can be really damaging.
But you mentioned a kind of aha moment in Hamzah's speech related to this. What was that?
Right. Well, this is where it gets politically really interesting. Hamzah didn't just say, we, the opposition Perikatan Nasional, oppose this.
Okay.
He specifically claimed that this opposition isn't just coming from them. He said that even some leaders within UMNO.
Within the United Malays National Organization, part of the ruling coalition.
Exactly. That even some UMNO figures are basically agreeing with the opposition's stance against the Prime Minister on this particular bill.
Wow. Okay, if that's true, that's potentially huge. That points to some serious friction within the unity government itself.
It does. If that claim holds water, it signals real instability. Because, look, development and land policies, they're never just about buildings, are they?
No, they're about power, money, local influence.
Exactly. Patronage, local power dynamics, how economic benefits are shared out. And if UMNO leaders, who traditionally have a strong focus on Malay land rights and development, feel they need to push back against the PM on this, well, it suggests a pretty deep crack.
A crack that goes beyond just normal coalition disagreements. Like a localized economic rebellion almost.
You could see it that way. It allows the opposition to frame the fight not just as politics, but as defending the people against perceived corporate interests, even pointing to allies of the PM seemingly agreeing.
Yeah, they're essentially painting a picture. Look, Anwar is prioritizing developers over the people, and even his own partners seem uncomfortable with it.
It's very effective framing. It shifts the debate away from just personality clashes towards perceived failures in policy and administration bias. So the question this raises for you, the listener, is kind of, when you see a proposed law about land and property rights drawing fire not just from the opposition, but allegedly from within the ruling coalition too, and the criticism is about favoring big developers, what does that tell you about how the current administration's priorities are being perceived on the ground?
It definitely gives Hamzah a powerful talking point. A lot of political capital, as you say.
Indeed.
Okay, so that's the domestic pressure point. Now let's switch gears completely to the second big issue. Hamzah raised the international one. This connection to the Global Solidarity Flotilla.
Yes, the GSF. This part of the rally was clearly tapping into a different but equally strong set of emotions.
The arrests of Malaysian GSF volunteers by the Israeli military that generated a huge amount of public anger here, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A massive wave of national outrage across the board. It wasn't just a policy debate. For many, it felt like an affront to national dignity.
Yeah, I remember the reactions. So how did Hamzah connect that to his call for the PM's resignation?
Well, his response was very, very specific and strategically timed. He didn't just condemn the arrests.
Okay.
He immediately used that powerful wave of national feeling to demand that Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim withdraw the invitation that had been extended to the U.S. President, Donald Trump.
Withdraw the invitation for Trump to attend the upcoming ASEAN summit.
Yeah.
The one Malaysia is hosting.
That's the one,
Yeah.
yes. A direct demand. Rescind the invite. Now.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Yeah.
Linking the GSF arrests directly to a major diplomatic event.
It's politically quite brilliant in a way because it ties this globally controversial incident, the arrests, directly to the PM's own diplomatic decisions at the highest level. And by demanding the withdrawal of the invitation to Trump, who is often perceived as, let's say, closely aligned with Israeli policies,
Right.
the opposition gets to position itself as the staunch defender of Malaysian pride and sovereignty on the world stage. Uncompromising.
Yeah, it really puts the prime minister in a bind, doesn't it? Either he digs in his heels on the invitation and risks looking insensitive to the public anger about the GSF volunteers, or he actually withdraws the invitation, which would cause a huge diplomatic mess right before Malaysia hosts this major summit.
It's a classic political squeeze play, a potential lose-lose for the government designed to make them look bad either way.
And the rally itself, it wasn't just Hamzah speaking, right? There was a show of force from the opposition leadership.
Oh, yes, definitely. The visual unity was a key part of the message. And you have to remember, the rally itself was organized by the PAS Youth Wing.
Parti Islam Si Malaysia Youth, they're known for mobilizing big crowds.
Exactly. They have a strong organizational capacity. And standing there with Hamzah were some very senior figures from across the Perikatan National Coalition.
Like who? Who else was prominent?
Well, you had Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim, who's the deputy president of Parti Islam Si Malaysia.
Okay.
Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan, the secretary general of PAS.
Right.
Dr. Radzi Jidin, vice president from Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia.
Okay, so key figures from both major PN parties.
Yes. And also, interestingly, Datuk Seri Mukriz Mahathir, Tun Mahathir's son.
Mukriz was there too. Okay, that is a notable presence.
It signals a broad front. All these leaders appearing together physically sends a powerful message of unity. They're using both the domestic issue, the Urban Renewal Act, and this foreign policy flashpoint, the GSF arrests, and the Trump invitation demand to attack the government together.
So it really was more than just a protest. It felt like a very calculated display of unity and strength, sending a signal.
Absolutely. A signal to the public, and perhaps just as importantly, a signal to waverers within the government's own coalition that the opposition is unified, energized, and prepared to challenge the administration on multiple fronts. So just to kind of wrap up the core message from that rally, Hamzah Zainudin is employing this dual strategy. He's tapping into two very different but equally potent sources of anxiety. On the one hand, you've got the local economic worries about land, housing, and fairness tied to the Urban Renewal Act, criticizing the government for allegedly favoring developers.
Okay, the domestic angle.
And on the other hand, he's channeling that really strong national and international indignation over the GSF incident, turning it into this high-stakes demand regarding the U.S. president's invitation. And the combination is clearly designed to exert maximum political pressure, providing the justification, in their view, for this very drastic call for the prime minister to resign immediately.
Yeah, the range of opposition leaders who showed up at SOGO was definitely significant. It really does suggest a serious attempt to consolidate different political forces from, the Islamic conservatives to the more nationalist elements, all against the current PM. It leaves you wondering, what's the real political weight here? Can protests focused on specific laws, when combined with these really powerful emotional foreign policy demands, actually destabilize the government? Is this a sign that those fault lines in the unity government might be deepening?
That's the key question moving forward, isn't it? How much traction will this dual-pronged attack actually get?
Definitely something to watch. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.